right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Two Beers with Ben. I'm your host, Chris Schrum, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Bennett IO, and we are drinking a Glutenberg IPA. This is a gluten-free beer, um, as requested, and I don't believe I've ever had this beer before, but I'm real curious about it. So before we jump into this, could you introduce yourself to all your existing fans and then soon to be fans, hopefully, after this interview?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Bennett.io. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer, originally from Detroit, Michigan, but I've been living in Nashville for about 3 years now.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, I am happy to have you. Hopefully, I'm going to have some great questions, and we're going to have a blast because that's what it's about for me. I like having fun, and I like learning about people and about music. All right, guys. This is, yeah.
Ta-da.
Wow.
Okay.
I am getting some citrus right out of the bat, or right out of the
Yeah.
gate on this one.
Yeah, it's a little citrus.
I'm getting a little.
I'm eating guava.
Well, you know,
It's a little guava, or like tropical fruit.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plenty of tropical fruit.
Yeah. Like mango milk type.
I am getting quite a bit of mango in.
Yeah. And that's the ingredients ain't nothing like that.
Ooh, what do you think this beer's gonna taste like?
I think it's gonna have a really simple beginning, but then once you're like sit back and swallow, it's like
It's gonna have a little
like
tart.
yeah, I think that's what it's
yeah.
gonna mean.
Okay. Like a real ripe fruit.
Yeah,
Or an
everything.
over-ripened fruit.
Yeah, everything that you smell is gonna be like in that back end of it.
Okay.
That's my prediction.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I think you're right. I don't think there's going to be much of a malt component to this, which there really shouldn't be, but I'm not getting the malt, the sweet. I'm not getting any sweet at all.
Yeah.
But you never know. So let's dive in. Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Yeah.
Wow. What do you think?
It has the tongue feel that I thought it would. It's that kind of like bitter aftertaste.
Yeah.
A little. And I've only ever had like gluten-free stout beers. Like I've never had gluten-free IPA.
Yeah.
I haven't had an IPA for a while, but I remember them being like a whole mouthfeel.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
well, depending on the style IPA you had, it may have been kind of a real hoppy, grassy, kind of piney IPA, or a very citra fruit, particularly maybe like a pineapple or something along that lines, very fruit forward.
I think it was this brand too.
Okay.
Make a really good one.
Okay.
Like, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm enjoying the beer, and I really enjoyed the conversation before we started. So I'm curious about how you ended up in Nashville. But first, let everyone know the style of music you play and the instruments that you play on stage, because I got 100 questions. So let's go ahead and get the style and the instrument out of the way.
Yeah, so I make electronic music. Something I don't know if everyone knows, but Detroit is a big hub for electronic, EDM, techno, a lot of genres. It really blooms there, especially like the Midwest, I think is just such a lovely area to be if you love electronic music. So I make a little more down tempo, chill, like lo-fi pop. And I use live performance techniques like clip triggering and live effects and things like that. So I play. I don't really play any traditional instruments. I grew up playing I played violin, I play clarinet, I can play piano. Um, but for the most part, what I'm doing on stage is vocals and then live clip triggering, and as well as manipulating those clips and effects that go into it.
For me, I think that is an instrument because you're using that device to make sound, and that sound is made immediately when you push those buttons. And I don't understand what you just said, but I'm I've watched your YouTube videos several times, and the night I met you, I just stood there. I don't know if you saw me, but I was the guy off on the side, just like, what is she doing?
Oh, I use they them pronouns as well. I don't know if I communicated that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, the end specifically, the shining light that they put on you is so bright.
Yeah.
So you cannot see like feet in front of you. So I did not see you.
Well, I mean, that's fine. I was just, that is so interesting.
Thank you.
I've got to check this out. And that's what really got me interested in wanting to have this conversation. So I'm glad you're here, but I really want to know, how did you end up in Nashville from Detroit?
So, long story short, basically I graduated from high school. I went to a state school for 2 years. I studied French. I did music my entire life, but I didn't really think that I could make it happen for me. I thought it was going to be practical and I was going to go after something else that I truly loved, which was language. But then about my second year of university, I had like a full breakdown. I dyed my hair blonde and realized that I needed to go into music and I needed to do it right now. Like I was very like dramatic about it. So I applied to Berklee and I applied to the music program that was at the university. I was at Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo. And I didn't get into the music program in Kalamazoo, but I got into Berklee. So I went to Berklee. And that was fantastic. I went for vocals, but then really hunkered down with production when I was there. My big draw was their equipment room is gigantic, and I got to play with so many things that I never even had heard of before, and got like on-site advice with it. I really like flourished. But then the pandemic happened, and everything went online, and I ended up moving back home. And one of my roommates before 2020 was, what's the word? She was approved for an internship in Nashville, and she was my roommate in Boston, essentially. So she was like, hey, I found a place to live. There's an extra bedroom while you're doing online school. If you want to just like move out of your parents and come down to Nashville, like it'll be so fun. And I was like, yeah, like that sounds great. I wasn't really working. I was just doing online school. So I moved down and I've just been here ever since, honestly. So, I've just kind of assimilated to the Nashville scene. I'd made a lot of friends down here. It really wasn't something I was planning on staying here for a long time. I thought it was just like, she would end her internship and, we would graduate and, we'd be like, let's go to LA or let's go rep her. But I really found a lot of things to like here and I really loved it.
Okay. Well, that is great. I'm born and raised here, so I love hearing that people love my town, because I sure do. But I'm curious about the style of music that's made. Is there a community for that style of music
Here?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been able to find it for a while there. I was not, and it was kind of isolating. I think that's why I was like very into making content like on the internet and connecting people that way, because a lot of the places that I would go and see shows, it was either writers rounds and country and some pop every once in a while, but for the most part Even when I would play on shows, it would be like I was like the sore thumb out every single time. But over time, I've been able to slowly build up connections. There is definitely an electronic scene here. They just put EDM nightclub on Broadway. Like it's
What's the name?
Night We Met.
Okay, you wouldn't happen to know the address or the location.
It's on Broadway, but I haven't been there yet.
Okay, and it's called again?
Night We Met.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, Night We Met. And then rooftop at oof. There's a couple other ones around Broadway that I've been to. And the Sky Deck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one also holds electronic concerts a lot. But there is like a thriving community. It's just kind of like a little underground. Like it's not really in your face. You just kind of have to pick around and find people.
Well, I think there are enough artists in the city that plays so many different things that a community could be built around pretty much any style of music.
Yeah.
And I think that music itself has evolved in this town to more than just country. There's a pop scene, there's a jazz scene, a blues scene that's actually a lot bigger than people would think that is here, but it's kind of overshadowed by country music. Yet those artists still put out music, perform on the weekends, I mean, the scene is here, but you do have to find it. And I was wondering if the community was there for your style of music.
Yeah, I think there is. It definitely just isn't in like there definitely is a community. What I think it's definitely growing as well, just like everything is in Nashville. I think what is so promising about the city is that there's so much growth happening all the time for so many genres, like
Right.
even when I first got here, it's the amount of people that I've been able to meet that are into my same kind of music and also make similar to music to me. They've come out of the woodwork like up until like pretty recently, honestly. Like, but I've been able to make a lot of connections even in the past year that I haven't been before. It was difficult in the beginning for sure. Because I think Nashville does get a rep for country music and singer-songwriter as well. If you're not technically that, it does feel like you stick out a lot.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a thriving, growing community. I think especially lo-fi music, it's always had a big audience online as well.
Yeah.
So even if I'm playing shows here and there and everything, I do find like a pretty strong community just in general, like anywhere I go.
Yeah.
But in Nashville specifically, yeah, I think it's absolutely growing. And people are also just love music here. So you really can go see a show and it will be 3 different acts with 3 different types of sounds,
That's what I love about the music scene here is you go for one band, maybe one band specifically, but there's 4 bands on the bill, and at least one of them is going to have kind of their own thing going. And I really enjoyed that. And the night that I saw you, when you got up on stage, I was just like, okay. And but by the end of your set, I was just did not see that coming. And I'm so pumped. And just for the rest of the night, it's just the surprise.
Yeah.
In when you go to one of these venues around town, what is going to happen on stage? Mm-hmm. There may be a set list, the 2 or 3 or 4 bands that are playing, okay, you're going on first. We're doing this. We're doing that. Okay, I know you play guitar for your band, but you also play for mine, so blah, blah, blah. The back and forth. And that's another thing I love about music. And it's probably not just Nashville, but music in general. Somebody who is a lead singer and a guitar player for this band is also the guitar player for this band over here, but only the guitar player, not
yes, there's another singer. Yeah.
Right. So they go from being the lead and the name in this band to, oh, just the guitar player over here, and then somebody else is produced. It just, the way music comes together and the people, just, that's what I enjoy about music and about the music community, is that the support that musicians have for each other. And I think that's it's probably understated nationwide, is that people don't understand that musicians support one another, even if they're so far different.
Exactly.
Excuse me, in their personas, their stage presence, who they are individual, but you're all the same, not the same person, but you're all in the same group.
Yeah. No, it's the same drive and commitment that I think also is part of it. That even if you're not playing the same genre, or if you're not, you're doing completely different styles, you can still, seeing someone who loves what they do, like, that's always going to be good. You're always going to want to admire that, and you're always going to want to support that. So, yeah, I went to Inglewood Lounge the other week, and they'll do like jazz nights and things like that.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen jazz in a while. It was big at Berklee, like it was all jazz, all the time. But that kind of improvisational music as well, where they'll have people come up from the crowd, they'll sign up and they'll just sing a tune, or they'll get on guitar, like they'll be like cycling out the band the entire night. It's so cool.
Nashville. I'm sorry, say that again, Nashville.
Go to Inglewood Lounge on their jazz nights. I think they have different genres as well, but the night that I went to was a jazz night, and you can just pull up. They have a band. You say you're a drummer, you can write down your name, come on, get on the drums, and just play what you want. It's all about like improv and, meeting people where they're at.
Making connections.
Yeah.
Following other people's energy and just,
yeah.
Nashville.
Very cool.
Listen up. We need to make this bigger. So you heard it here first.
No, it's lovely. Yeah.
Okay, so who are your fans? Who are the people that anytime you play or anytime you go live on the socials, who are the people that are just boom right there?
Right there. I mean, my aunt is a big supporter. I think she has my notification. She will pull up to every single live that I do without fail. I think it's lovely. But in general, I think a lot of, people in their 20s, but also a lot of like queer people. Like, I do like tend to, across the board. I mean, as a queer person, definitely attract the kind of crowd, kind of, more of like the indie pop and rock scene. Also, will have this, Venn diagram middle between lo-fi and electronic.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find a lot of people that don't particularly, maybe lo-fi or kind of like chill pop is not their main thing, but it is something they also enjoy. But also people who really, really like upbeat electronic music can't always be up all the time.
Yeah.
So they go down.
Right.
They still need chill beats to study to and things like that. And there are, people who are like ride or die, like lo-fi, I just want to chill. But for the most part, the people that I meet at shows, it's like in-person shows, will be very open and honest about not being interested in pop, but liked what I did. You know, like they'll be really interested in they'll come to a show to see a bunch of live music with live instruments, but still end the night being like, no, okay, yeah, I like that. You know?
Well, I mean that's how I felt. And I've gone through my stages just like everyone else, you know, or maybe not everybody else, but growing up I was exposed to classic rock, country, well, it's now referred to as classic country, things like that, but I love music, period. So, of course, when I went to college, you meet so many different people who come from so many different backgrounds who like such diverse styles of music that opened up my eyes to so many styles of music that had never heard of and hadn't never been exposed to in Nashville. So, you know, when I was in college, dance, house music, I think is what it was called. Electronic, it was probably electronic, but I'm sure they gave it some cool name.
Yeah, there's a lot of subgenres.
Right. But I really enjoyed it. And I think what I enjoyed about it is that it was so upbeat. And it seemed like everyone involved in making the song was having an absolute blast.
Yeah.
And each song that I heard, it's like fun, fun,
Yeah.
fun, fun, fun. Okay, we're just having fun. Yeah. It's going in these songs. I ran across a song one time that was almost 17 minutes long. Completely blew my mind. I was like, is this song ever gonna end? Yeah. Because I need to take a break.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it finally came to an end. Next one starts up. Like, here we go. Here we go. What is this music? And why have I never heard of it? Yeah. So, you know, it introduced me to so many different genres of music. And I've fallen in love with those different genres. And then when people combine those genres,
yeah,
electronic, pop, lo-fi, things like that, that really interests me because I see you as someone who's more than just a performer. You're an artist to come up with this style of music, to write it, to be able to play, I'm going to call them devices. Or no, I'm going to call them instruments because they are instruments as far as I'm concerned. Sorry.
No, I think they are too.
Okay, so yeah. To be able to play those instruments live and sing with those bright lights just beating down, and it looks like it doesn't affect you and you keep rolling, just like any other artist out there. So I was very surprised the night I saw you. Yeah. Because I knew that the genre was there and the music was there, but I didn't know it was right here in Nashville. Yeah. So that really got me interested. And that's why I wanted to have you on. Absolutely. But you also look like you're very bubbly. So
yeah.
I enjoyed that as well.
Thank you. Yeah. I was asked that night to accompany Alan, who's a friend of the pod.
Yeah. Yeah. Alan Fine.
Yeah. And yeah, I think he's lovely. And yeah, that's like the second or third show that I've done with him. And yeah, we have some overlap between our songs and our styles. A little bit. He kind of gets a little bit psychedelic.
Well, and that's something else I wanted to talk about because on the ride home, I was thinking, how in the world did those three bands come together? Yeah. And then I remembered who was throwing the show and his style of music And I thought, oh,
Mm.
okay. So how did these two
Yeah.
work together? Because I know all the things he does, but you mentioned you're a producer as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, basically, when I first moved down here, my roommate who had the internship at a recording studio was really into writers' rounds. She's a musician herself, and was doing them a lot. So I ended up going to a bunch, and that's where I met Alan. He wasn't performing, but he was like a friend of a friend of a friend. Um, and the one thing that I'm not particularly good at, in terms of music, I'm not good at the mastering process.
right.
That's something that like I'm getting better at mixing, but mastering, I'm like, oh god, like I'm really not. I'm really not a pro at it. So I had known Alan worked with a friend of ours to make an album. So I was like, hey Alan, do you think at the time I think I had a mix and master a song of mine. But I was like, hey, can I listen to some of your stock? I can do again. You can figure something out. And yeah, Alan mastered like 2 of my songs, and it's like, look. And then from then on, um, yeah, he does shows kind of sporadically, and he'll ask me to be on every once in a while, and I'm always like, yeah. Al and I like could not be more different, but I think he's hysterical. I love Alan.
Oh, me too.
He's generally so funny.
But he's a good person and he's easy to talk to.
Yeah,
And he's so full of information.
absolutely.
And I enjoy talking to him about specific things he does production, engineering, the band. It's just, he's multi talented. And he seems like the type guy that if you came to him and said, can you help me in any way with my music? And he would say yes. And maybe it's a genre that he doesn't know anything about.
Yeah.
But he's going to figure it out and to make it work.
That's literally what happened. He asked me to make, well, he wanted me to get a bunch of songs that kind of emulated the sound that I was looking for. And yeah, I don't think in a million years those kind of songs would show up on his like just recommended or whatever.
Right.
But he was like, okay, yeah, I get it. Like he does like he takes a second and he goes, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I think that's really just he's so low key about it as well. He's like it's something he's doing for me that's very lovely, and I'm very very like thankful for him for mastering a song for me. And he's like, yeah, I can do it. I want to give you a hug. Like I'm so excited. He's just so like, like yeah, we can make it happen. I love it.
And then just goes to work.
And then just goes to work, and then we bounce it back a couple times, and yeah, I just love people like that. People in music that are just down to clown, do whatever, make it work. There's so much of that.
How are your songs created?
So 90% of the time, I will make the production first and then write lyrics over it. So what I'll do is I have a account on Splice. Are you familiar with Splice?
No.
So it's
Not yet. Not yet. Okay. And I'm fixing to be.
okay. It's like this online resource of samples basically.
Oh, okay.
So
a couple other. Okay.
yeah, so you basically have a subscription and you can look up samples of all kinds, like one shots or like loops in any genre. You can, if you want, handpick the length, the genre, the what's the word? Key, the specific key that you want.
Yeah.
Minor, major, all of that kind of stuff, as well as a bunch of like sound effects, which I think is really cool. I imagine a lot of people use them for like video game design or even like cinematography because a lot of them are like, you can find shoe stomping on dry leaves or something like that.
Yeah.
Like very specific ones. But basically what I'll do is I look up a key sometimes. I'll go for sometimes I kind of go for a like genre in general, but a lot of time nowadays I look up a key and then look up a bunch of different styles of it, like let's say synth or guitar loops or vocal stems of like almost like scatting or things like that. Just like silly, all kinds, all across the board. And then I put about 100 samples like into Ableton. I load them all in, and then I start at the rhythmic, or just start around the drums or some kind of melodic, arpeggiated synth, and then I break it down. I'll like stretch it, pitch it up, pitch it down, trying to make something of it, and then build the whole set around. Like get pretty much all the other samples to fit with that. I like make them, and if it doesn't sound good, then I'll just go on to the next sample and stretch it, cut it, make some kind of melody with it, and then bend all of the other samples to like its will, essentially.
That sounds like a process.
It's actually like basically. Do you use Ableton at all, or
no?
Okay, so it's really good for working with samples. And when I first used it, I had it for about 2 or 3 months before I actually got in a class to learn how to use it. So I was just riffing for like 2 or 3 months with the samples that I had built into it, stretching them, pitching them up, trying to make like cool melodies out of whatever stock sounds they had. And that kind of, well, I also was really interested in remixing. So I would download like MP3s from YouTube and plug it into Ableton and then try and make something out of like some kind of K-pop song or like an old Furby song I really liked. Yeah. And just try to like mix and mash it into something that was either up-tempo or like an EDM remix. So a lot of where I started in production was just messing with samples. So it's kind of where I begin every session. That makes sense.
No, it does. It does. But how long does it take for one song?
It depends.
Start to finish.
It used to take me a lot longer, because I would get near the end stages like nitpicky and unsure about it. But it's gotten easier as it goes on, for sure. I would say it sucks because sometimes I'll get it done in under like 2 weeks. Sometimes it's super easy.
I'm talking about hours.
Hours.
Yeah, this sounds like a full-time job.
I kind of, here's what it is. In the beginning, it's rather easy. What really stinks is in the end game, in the mixing mastering process, because of all the clipped up clips, I have to go in a lot and get rid of a bunch of frequencies that, because the sound was never meant to be stretched out like that and pitched the way up, it's making the most nasty like little frequencies somewhere. Yeah. So it is a lot of hours and hours in the end game making it sound actually good because it's just been manipulated so long. I mean, yeah, it takes hours. I sit cross-legged on my little laptop.
Well, I want the audience to know how many, just, ballpark. I know you say it takes hours and hours, but ballpark, because the style of music is so specific.
Yeah.
It's got to take a lot of time. And I want you, the reason I'm kind of drilling down on it is because your style of music, there's so many people that around the world that produce and play this style of music that the people who listen to it may not know how hard it is to actually do this. They may, and I'm speaking as a consumer. I see it as something, okay, a beat was found, you did this, you did
And
that.
at least something you could do is just plug in these samples and let it loop and just add on and add on.
Yeah, but even then, it takes time, and you got to break things down. And I, for me personally, when I go to that channel in my vehicle,
Mm.
how long does it take to produce those songs? Because I can guess how long it takes to produce a rock song, a country song.
Yeah.
I can kind of listen to the background, see, okay, it's got a couple of guitars in it. There's a keyboard in it. Not up front, but it's back there. So we got to plug in about this much time. Okay, this is a big song. Got a bunch of stuff going in the background. So it probably took about X number of hours just to play, just to track. Then mastering all that some different, but you take it from nothing to end product. And it's very niche and very specific. You've got to have some idea.
I have no idea. I'm so sorry. I think even when I've
40 hours, 50 hours,
I think
60 hours.
if it takes 2 months to make it and I'm working on it, it's sporadic because I'm not working on it every single day. It'll be one day, it will be 12 hours, and I'll be like, I'm on it. And then another day, I won't even look at it.
Well, of course. You got to step back and say, look, it woke me yesterday. I
just need to take a second.
Right.
Honestly, when I get into the zone, I don't even realize. I'm gonna be real. I have ADHD, so I get in the zone. Time flies so quickly, and I'm just like, okay, it's the next day. I really have a hard time tracking it. The only time that I realize how long it's been, I recently started saving files to track progress, getting a master done, maybe the first week I work on it, just to see the progress. Because otherwise it just feels like one big long just endeavor. Honestly.
What?
I just can't. I don't really track the hours. I have no idea. Probably yeah, over 100 for sure.
I mean, it sounds logical. So 100 hours, let's just say 120 hours per song.
Yeah.
120 hours per song.
I'd say so.
That's a long time, I think.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm only a consumer. I'm not an artist, so I don't understand the love. No, I do understand the love. I don't understand the process. And that's the reason I love talking to artists. The process is what so many people don't know or don't even understand.
Yeah.
And songs, for most consumers nowadays, seem to be almost like background. It's something that when they get in the car and start the car, it's just on the radio. Or, oh, I like this song. But, here in Nashville, truly, there are people that show up and love music because the people that show up to these venues, a lot of them are musicians, writers. They're associated with the industry. So it's a little bit different than playing somewhere else. But I want to get down to the nitty gritty, the how music is made for each artist, because I think, or at least for me, that's what I love about this city, and that's why I enjoy what I do. I want to talk to people that look. I take an idea, something popped into my brain, and dead set on giving this to the world the way I want to give it to the world, the way it feels right to me. And that's what I enjoy about what I do. And when I watch your videos and I see you sing, and you have a beautiful voice, by the way. I would like to hear a little more of that.
Yeah.
But I enjoy hearing you sing. And then I just love that because it's so unique, and that your timing and just the way things flow. And I don't think that I want you to get the props that you deserve.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. And I have so many questions, but when you're in your car, what are the presets on your car radio?
Well, I put in a Bluetooth that connects to my phone.
Okay.
So I have like a liked song list on Spotify. That is just a mixed bag of all kinds of genres and just crazy, mostly K-pop. I listen to a lot of K-pop. My roommates, since I moved down here, have gotten me really into Western music, like old-timey Western.
Okay.
A lot of 2000s pop. A lot of so it really is a mixed bag. Like for a while there, it would be like, okay, Bjork. Okay, K-pop. Okay, a slow, sad song, Paramore. It really like I can listen to just I don't feel the need to really like hit a vibe. It's just mostly like, oh, I love this song, I'm gonna listen to it right now. And I will listen to this one. I will listen to this one. Like I pretty much will just listen to my like songs on shuffle.
Okay. Where do you find the inspiration to write a new song?
Um Most of the time I come up with a melody. Well, I'll kind of hear something that I really, really like. I do really like bubblegum pop, like extremely like or like Euro dance, like discotheque style.
Yeah.
So usually when I hear something that I really, really like and that I want to emulate, I'll go into Splice and I'll type in things of that genre, or I'll just kind of go down a Spotify like playlist, random like for the artist that I really like or that style, and I'll just kind of listen to little fragments and little like growth and change, or in terms of like how the song is structured, I guess. I really like songs that break boundaries of like normal song form. So when something really kind of gets me thinking about, oh wow, that's really, really cool, I think I can make that in my style. That's pretty much what gets me to do. I think when something jumps out at me and really just makes me like sit back, I'll be like, okay, wow, okay, I'm gonna try and figure something out like that. I get a lot of inspiration from listening to a lot of music, I guess.
So when you listen to these songs, are you searching for something, or do you listen to the playlist and then something just kind of jump out, and then you kind of key on that and say, "Ooh, I need to take that and put this."
Yeah.
So it finds you, you don't find it.
Yeah. Well, something that I really like and that you touched on earlier is that electronic music and, the kind of music that I like to make is just so fun. It's just so fun to make, and I have so much fun doing it that when something comes up in a song that really makes me smile and giggle, like it's so exciting. How are they able to even do that? To try and figure out on the music making software something that sounds like that, to kind of copy it, is just like so exhilarating. I think it's so fun. Like it's because it kind of lifts that veil on it, of like, okay, I can do it. Like I can make something like this. or maybe this is how they do it, and trying troubleshooting with a bunch of effects or samples or like MIDI things, I think is just such a little puzzle to figure out. I think that's also part of it. It's like something that really catches my ear. I feel like it's going to be really fun to recreate and test if I can do it. You know?
So it almost seems like it's a game.
A little bit.
To you. It's not a drudgery of, oh, I have to create this song. It's more of a, ooh, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And
How do I do it?
right.
Yeah.
So it's a game.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, because I do feel like, I mean, granted, this happened every once in a while and I haven't been creative. There is like a pit of dread in my stomach that I feel like I have to like, you know, get the ball moving. But for the most part, it comes from, yeah, hearing things that I really like and seeing if I can figure it out. Because that's what really kind of draws me to producing in general, is that, you know, you hear songs and you're like, how do they do that? That sounds so crisp. I have friends that, especially in like the electronic scene, where they'll find a song they really like and then try to recreate it and try to get the mixing exactly right. Like they'll like pull up like the sound waves as the songs are, and they'll make their own and like stare at them and try and get them exactly right, and just like be hitting their heads against the wall trying to figure out how to make it exact, you know? Like, how did he do that? That's crazy. And I think that's like the love of that kind of game. Like, I love it. I think it's so like, because it comes from a place of admiration. You want to recreate things that you really admire. And what I really enjoy is hearing something that really excites me, but then being able to figure out how I can make it my own and make it true to myself. And that's such a fun challenge.
Well, who do you emulate specific artist? Or
I kind of emulate the music that I really, really grew up listening to was video game music that looped about every 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Like I would play these like handheld video games, and I would play like our Game Boy, our GameCube. And that same soundtrack would loop over and over and over and over again. But you can listen to it forever and like still find little tiny things in it every single time. So I really like emulating something that has simple melodies and maybe simple chord changes, but has so much depth that you can just keep listening to it over and over and over again. So I really like loop-based production is, and why I use a lot of loops, is when you do layer them like that, there's just, and add something different every 8 bars. I really like emulating a sound that you can listen to over and over again and still realize something different. And I listen to the same songs over and over and over again. Like pop music, I will listen to it forever. If a song that I like, I will just put on repeat. And I'll still be listening and hear something different, like after the 200th time. I think I love it when music does that. When there's so much in the foreground that you kind of don't really hear what's in the background.
right.
Oh, love it. It's fantastic.
What does music mean to you?
As a concept,
Yes.
I think music, well, my philosophy, I guess, about music is, or what kind of got me into music that I really like, is when I was at Berklee and taking a lot of harmony classes, that was a really in-depth and difficult about chord changes and different types of ways you can move around a melody. I really think what's really meaningful to me about music is that it can be so simple. It can be simple in its structure and its melodies, but still be profound, I guess, is what I would say. I really think music doesn't have to be complex. I think even something really simple can be really beautiful. And that's why I think it's such a ground level thing that everyone can do. You know, like in Ratatouille, he's like everyone can cook. You disagree?
No, I'm not saying I don't disagree. I just everyone can do music.
Well,
That it's an interesting statement because I think if everyone had that desire,
it's a desire, I guess, that isn't there. Yeah.
exactly, because it's so much easier for me to jump in my truck, turn it on, radio's already on, bam, music's there. I don't have to make music because there's so much already out there.
Maybe what I mean is that everyone can love music and everyone, it's something that everyone has an opinion on. You know, so many people are really into music.
Yeah.
Genuinely, like,
That's true.
like you'll hear some, yeah, like anyone will hear something and be like, okay, I either like that or I don't like it. It's like a switch, it's up or down. Or so many people just love it. People don't even realize how much music is in their everyday lives, you know?
I agree. And I was thinking about doing some shorts where I would listen to a new song for the first time
Mm.
and record everything from right before it started to maybe, 30 seconds, minute after it ended, and just kind of get my critique of that song. But I was wanting to do it while driving to work because majority of the time when someone hears something new, they're doing something else.
Mm.
So that song has to either grab a hold of them right then, or it's just, oh, okay, well, this is the new song from this artist. Yeah. But if that song immediately grabs a hold of them, the next time it comes on, you pay a little bit more attention to it. And then after two or three times, oh, this is either my new favorite song or it's in my top 5. And I think that with me, that's what I enjoy about music. Especially, I listen to so many different genre styles, however you want to phrase it, that when I hear a new song, I do kind of pay a little attention to, where maybe most people don't, but especially if it's an artist I either enjoy or I've heard before, they're new. I'll say, you know what? I kind of like the last song they did. Let me see what they got now. And then sometimes I go down that rabbit hole. And then sometimes you know what? It's not bad, but it doesn't speak to me. Yeah. But I'm willing to give them another try. Yeah. And that's what I love about music.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's what I also like about music is that people take it, even if they aren't realizing it, like so seriously. Like they look at an artist as like a little adventure to find out everything about this artist, listen to every single track, think about things you do like, things about things you don't like, or things about it that you don't like. Like just like you said, be like, okay, this doesn't speak to me, but I'm gonna keep going. You know, I feel your connection to it in a way that makes you want to explore more. I think is so lovely.
What does your music mean to you?
It's everything to me. It means that it means that things that aren't extremely, extremely complex can still be good. Things that make sense to me are good. You know, things that I can understand. I had a really hard time growing up. There's a lot of things that just don't connect with my brain. Like I was never good at math and sciences, but I was really good at language and music, and I could really excel without necessarily trying. The music that I make is music that a lot of work does go into it, and it is grueling at times, but to me it makes sense, and it just can just flow out of me for the most part. So my music to me is just an affirmation that the way that uh, the oddball, chaotic way that I go about my life is affirming and could be likable and could be, you know, good and praiseworthy and just be like something you could listen to on repeat. That the things that I really like in music can be something that I can make and have other people enjoy. So it's just, I mean, it's hard to kind of, it feels wrong to kind of like put that much emphasis on it. Or not wrong, but like I mean, but it is kind of everything to me, you know. Like it is kind of everything.
Yeah.
So it means a lot to me, and I put a lot of weight in it, because you know I had a lot of time where I really had to like work really hard to understand things that didn't come naturally to me. So being able to really excel in things that I feel like are not difficult and are just like free expression is just something that I'm waiting for, I guess.
So making the music is natural to you.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it feels good. It feels, I mean, granted, I don't want to make it seem like the hours and hours that I put in are like super duper fun and I'm having a great time the entire time.
Oh,
because there's a lot.
Of course not.
But it does feel natural. It feels like like I'm doing the right thing. And that I'm spending my time well. You know?
Do you ever second guess once a song is complete?
Yeah.
Boy, didn't even get to finish the question, but you knew where I was going with it.
Sorry. Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah, it sucks because it's gotten better over time. There are moments in the beginning where I put something out, I'd be like, God, like why did I do that? But I think that also comes with like I would listen to it over and over and over and over and over again until it became like just something I didn't even like anymore. And didn't really give myself the time to like take a break from it for a week or even a day.
Yeah.
Like I would be so into it, and then I'd be like, okay, this is finally where I want it, and then put it out, and then hear it like a week later, and be like, God, because I don't think I gave myself enough time to like really see the direction it was going. I was just like head in that space forever, you know, for like a long time.
Well, after you've done it for the amount of time you have and put out the number of songs, does it get easier to say, this project is finished? I'm going to present it to the world and move on.
I have to like make it, well, I have to do fun things with the promotion. I find that when I do fun things with the promotion and I like really am able to explain the song really well and kind of like make cute things around it, that I end up liking it a lot more and be able to leave it in the past. Like country, like an era.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd be like, okay, we're really into this. I'm working on a song right now called Velveteen. Because I had recently read The Velveteen Rabbit. I had never read it as a kid. And I kind of went on a whole, it's not done, but I'm like writing it and everything, and it's turning out really nice. But I was able to, and I love bunnies as well, so I'm starting to like make a bunch of little things of my little alien wearing a little bunny hood and like little like I made a little walking bunny animation. And I'm just going full like, and like Easter's coming up, so I'm about to buy like so much like bunny stuff.
Yeah.
Like for even just maybe wait after Easter and get it for cheap.
Right.
Like I'm so excited. So I find that and in the past I've done I did an EP, like a self-titled EP, and I kind of had a more like earthy, grassy nature concept with it. And I found that because I did it during the spring and the summer and it came out, the seasons changed and I changed, and it was just, I like put it in a little box in an era in like a type of style. And then once I'm done, it's just like a cool thing I can look back on from now on. Like I don't really feel like I don't really feel attached to it after, you know. I like I
It's time to move on to the next.
Yeah, it's the next thing I can do. Yeah, because I'm not good changing. I feel like I should be able to.
Do you feel like you get, when you do a show, do you feel like the audience responds to your production the way you would like them to respond?
I think in the future, what I want to do is have a little camera up, like, and showing what my hands do. Because what I will say is that people will come up to me like, yeah, I have no idea what you were doing, but I loved it. And I'm like, okay, but I want you to see, like, I want you to see these little things.
That's exactly what I wanted to.
Because a lot of it as well in, like, live performance is bringing things in and out, the volume, and triggering things. I've had everything labeled up on my little device. Like, I'll have, like, okay, this is synth, vocals, drums. I would love for people to be able to see it, like how I see it, and have at least a visual of what I'm doing. Because otherwise, like, it is just starting to hear like, oh yeah, I had no idea. But it's good that they at least know that something's happening. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. They know something's happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what I was weary about with performing music like mine was just, I didn't want to just hit a track and then just sing and not do anything, you know?
Yeah.
Excuse me, that just didn't feel right. Because there is so much changing in the tracks as the song goes on. There's so many effects added, taken away. So I do feel like they respond to it positively. The audience does, and they understand that it is work. But I would enjoy it if they had like a visual or some kind of like, or maybe I could explain it better. To have like a little like fake demonstration video that plays or something.
Well, I think if you did have a screen behind you and, like you say, a camera pointing down, that's two things for the consumer to pay attention to.
Mm.
I can watch what you're doing on the screen, or I can watch you when you really lay into the vocals. You do adjust them up and down, and you do your robot vocal. I can see how you're going in and out of that. It's not just happening. You're actually making it happen. And I think a lot of people would appreciate that, appreciate your style of music a lot more when they see the actual real work that has to go in behind it. This isn't just hit play and sing into a mic like you said. Everything you're hearing is happening right now, right here, live. That brings it to a whole new level. And I think so many people, especially people in the industry, people who play instruments, produce, engineer, the whole thing, they know what kind of work it takes to make your songs happen. Other people that aren't in the industry who are simply consumers, I don't think we understand how hard it is. Even live, you're not just here, here, here. It's boom, 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 and it's constant movement.
Yeah,
that brings an energy to the show that I think the audience would give back to you if they saw how much you're giving them.
Yeah.
Do you get that up from audiences in Nashville when you play a show? Do you feel that they are giving the energy that they're giving other bands?
Yeah, I think, well, the thing is, definitely people who are really into audio and tech like that will come up after and be like, oh my God. And I'll be like, tell me about it. I feel like they'll be like, oh, you use Ableton? And I was like, I sure do. And we'll kind of have like a gab about it. I think in general from audiences in Nashville, I get just like a sense of yeah, they just, I mean, they think it's cool, think it's great, but they don't necessarily have an understanding of what exactly I'm doing, but they still think it's great. They still think, they're still really into it. But the majority of people that will be really, really excited, I guess, will be those people who like kind of have an idea of my setup and know the hardware already, you know.
But I think that that would be a feather in your cap if you could show the audience what is going on up there. Because from where I stood originally, it just looked like almost you had a keyboard sitting up there and you hit a couple of buttons because you already had some stuff recorded and you're going to jump on the mic and everything is coming out of the keyboard and it's pre-recorded.
Yeah.
And that was not the case.
Yeah.
But some people may look at it like that, and you and other artists don't get the props that you deserve.
Yeah, I think basically last year I had um commissioned, I didn't bring it to the last show that I did, but I have this TV that goes around my table. It's like white, um like a big thing of wood essentially, and then the middle of it is a square projector screen.
Yeah.
And it's so heavy to bring around. But basically what I was doing for a little bit was putting like a pre-recorded um just video onto that screen, so it looked like a TV was like flipping through channels. But what I do want to do in the future is have some sort of like little camera or GoPro style thing that has over it, and then even um you know, switch in and out from that to other silly, camera work or whatever. But maybe even had little highlights and things like that where like a friend of mine or something is tracking the movements and being like, okay, this is the volume, turn up or something like that. For like little cute animations or things like that. That's definitely in the works.
So you're wanting to put on a full show.
Well, I'm able to.
I like it. I like the props. I like the stage presence.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the future. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah, I haven't been able to get it down in the way of, um, I just need to troubleshoot it a lot and figure out how I'm gonna do it. Um, because yeah, that last show I was just like, I just wrapped some some fairy lights around the legs. I don't know if you remember, and I was like, great, it's around Christmas. This is gonna be great. But I could absolutely do a lot more.
Well, it seems like for you that it's not just get up there and do the song. It seems like you're wanting to put so much more into each song, and that each song, even though maybe it's created and it's out there, you want it to evolve even more with stage production and then bigger stage production and then moving to more than just the music. There's going to be video. There's probably going to be lights and it's going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So the song itself is not done yet. You're just getting the hook. But I haven't really brought you in.
Well, that's what I think also when I started production and I was so into remixes and mashups and things like that, that is just taking a song and changing it over and over and over and over and over again. Um, Again, it's like a puzzle. It's like a little game. How can I make this song that's 2 years old, like one of my own songs, different every single time? And I'll also take little snippets. Basically, part of my setup is the live clips and everything, but then I have a drum rack full of samples from each song that I play along with it.
Yeah.
That I've taken out of the original like sample that I'm plucking. And some of those samples from songs by happenstance are the same key as another song. So I can play them in between that or in the key or in like a different tempo. The samples from one of my songs works super well with another one that I would have never realized. So it's just fun.
So it kind of evolves even on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so fun. They're all kind of, I think all my songs are like related in some way. Somehow. Musically.
So you can take a song and build on it, even on stage, and make it new. So the fan, the super fan, has to pretty much be in front of you at all times because their favorite song is probably going to change a little bit.
Maybe a little bit each time. Yeah.
And it may never be produced the same way again.
Yeah. 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 I think, I'm not going to go like super duper crazy with it, but for the most part, yeah, like every song has the potential of having, yeah, it's kind of like an improvisational type thing, I guess, that I don't think a lot of people think to do with live clip triggering or playing the tracks. The possibilities of effects that could be added on and tinkered with in a live set are just endless.
I love it.
What's up, y'all? Harco's here. I edit every single episode right here on Two Beers with the Band podcast. If you've never seen me before, welcome. This is going to be the end of part 1 right here of the episode Two Beers with the Band with Bennett.io. If you all want to catch part 2, which you definitely should, make sure you like, share, follow, subscribe, and hit that notification buzzer so you never miss another episode right here on Two Beers with the Band podcast. And part 2 will be coming out in 2 days after this episode drops. So depending on when you're watching it, will depending on if it's out already or not. Either way, make sure you check out part 2 because Chris and Bennett go even deeper into what makes Bennett Bennett. And if you want to learn more about what it takes to make the music that is made, then make sure you check out part 2 here on Two Beers with the Band podcast. And make sure you go check out all the other previous episodes here at Two Beers with the Band podcast as well. Two Beers with the Band podcast is dedicated to helping showcase and highlight great independent artists from all kinds of genres in the Nashville area. So if you are into that raw, gritty, independent music vibe, you definitely need to keep checking out every single episode here of Two Beers with the Band podcast. And again, make sure you go and check out part 2 of Two Beers with the Band, Bennett.io. Y'all have a good one.